This is the Motion Evo Street. Very similar to the Neo Street, which was kind of 2013, 2014. I'm looking at this in April of 2015, and it's one of their most popular bikes, and I can totally see why. It's got all of sort of the upgrades of the Evo line, which includes being able to charge the battery on the bike, having sort of a quick release system for the rear wheel, having the motor cable come out on the opposite side of where the derailleur and everything is, so it's a little bit easier, less cluttered, I guess you could say. And then just having a good price point. Like, all of their bikes are about $29.99, so about $3,000. This one has the adjustable stem, nice sort of swept back handlebars, ergonomic grips. They don't have lockers or anything, but you know, they're comfortable, they're nice. Hydraulic disc brakes with a 180 millimeter rotor in the front and 160 millimeter rotor in the rear. It's got the rack with this bungee cord, adjustable, like full-length fenders front and rear with a mudguard on the back, built-in lights, nice comfortable like gel saddle. I mean, it just seems like it has kind of everything you would need. The front light is mounted to the suspension fork, so it might, you know, bounce up and down a little bit more depending on the terrain, but it's adjustable, it matches, just good stuff all around. This bike is a good option for people who are maybe a little bit more petite, because it does have sort of these like smaller like diameter tires. I'm trying to find the exact measurement here. There we go. They're 26 by 1.75, and they have these awesome reflective sidewalls, which is really great. So the visual footprint on this bike is great. I mean, you got a reflector woven into the spokes, front and rear, and then at the back on the rack, this is sort of a pannier blocker, so that if you have bags, they don't, you know, rub on the tire or anything. You've got another reflector right there. So just really good job all around. Nice white color, kind of classy. And as I was saying, you know, smaller diameter wheels versus like the Neo City, right? Which is, it has like 28 700C wheels. And then this one also, by having those smaller wheels, you're able to kind of bring the seat post down a little bit further. So if you're a short rider, that seat can come super low, and then you can use that tool-free adjustable stem to kind of, you know, bring the bars back or down and just really dial this in. So it's a good bike in so many ways. Nice little kickstand, aluminum alloy platform pedals, Shimano like drivetrain basically. You've got 3 gears here on the left with the trigger shifters and 8 on the right. If we come back here, you can see it's like a Shimano Alivio, so kind of middle of the range. There's that quick release I was talking about earlier. You know, it's basically like a plastic handle that sort of, you can sort of pop it out and then crunch it in and pop it out and crunch it in. So it's sort of like built in, sort of a spring system that's neat. You know, I'm not sure, it'd still be a kind of a hassle if you had to deal with this out on the trail, like trying to change a tire, but this is more of a city bike, obviously. And on the front, there is not a quick release. So that's kind of interesting. I do like that it's got a sort of a dynamo hub right here on the front, Shimano. You can see the cable running up here, and that's designed to keep those lights going even if your primary battery runs out. That's a good safety feature that they require in Europe for some of the e-bikes. This is a, you know, kind of a entry-level suspension fork, I would say. You know, it says SR Suntour. I'm not sure what model it is exactly, but it does have lockout, and that's nice because if you're just going on flat stuff, you can kind of reduce that bobbing motion, which loses energy by locking it out. Got a nice little chain guard here. Here's the front kind of chain rings. Got the 3 right there. Good stuff. Really, really clean. And there's that a little bit close-up of that gel saddle that you can sort of adjust. It feels really nice going over the bumps, having a little bit of extra kind of cushion support on this thing. So the big benefit that I referenced earlier is the battery pack. It's like 30% larger now than it was before. So you're getting a further range, basically. And that's going to help people who use this as a commuter. You know, if you had a bag on the back and you're going to work or whatever. Of course, you can take the battery off and charge it inside, which is nice. So I'm kind of unlocking it here. Pop it off. This weighs about 5 pounds. It's that lithium ion chemistry. And it's a 36 volt, 11 amp hour, actually 11.6. So the old ones were like 36.9. And this new battery even has like a little charge level indicator so that if it's off the bike and you haven't used the bike for a while, you can be like, is the battery full? And you can check without putting it on the bike, powering it up, and that's really handy. Here's the charging port. You'll notice that looks a little bit different than the charging port that's right there on the chainstay near the kickstand. And I'm gonna set this down very gently. With the old batteries, you always had to take it off, and that was a really, you don't want to scratch these up. They're really nice looking. Here's the battery charger. It's like 1.5 pounds, real easy to transport with you. And here is the charging plug that's designed to work directly with the battery pack when it's off the bike. Now they also have this little breakaway point here, kind of twist it like that, and this little dongle sort of hangs out. And now this is what plugs in directly on the bicycle. And it's a really cool system. You kind of like plug it in, and then this top part twists and sort of locks it on, which is great. I'm gonna try to line it up real quick here. So there's like a little arrow. There we go. Okay, look at that. I locked it on so it feels really firm. Everything seems great, right? If the battery was on the bike, until you pedal backwards accidentally, perhaps, and break it. So be very careful. You can see how those two parts would collide, which is it's unfortunate. Otherwise, I think it's a really good charging setup. I think the battery is really nice. It's sleek. It blends right into the frame. Even the motor, 350 watt planetary geared rear hub by Dapu. It's one of the zippier, more responsive, more powerful geared hubs that I've tried, and you can see it just disappears behind that disc brake and behind the cassette on the other side. So good stuff. It really blends in. All in all, it's a solid bike. The two modes it has for riding are, of course, twist throttle, kind of see up here, that's sort of built into the right grip, and then also pedal assist. And it uses a pretty responsive torque sensing pedal assist, which means if you push down, the harder you push down, sort of the quicker and also the more power you're going to get in terms of activation. But it also makes mounting the rear wheel a little bit touchier because you don't want to over tighten that axle. And I don't know, the trade-offs between like a torque sensor like this versus a cadence sensor, which is just magnets passing each other, is that this is going to be more responsive. And especially starting out, you're not going to have to like pedal a full rotation before the motor realizes that you want to go. This one, it's going to start a little bit faster, but it does mean that you have to pedal more actively while you're riding, which could lead to better range, but also a better workout. You're going to be pedaling a little bit harder. Okay, so we're just kind of clicking it back into place, locking that down. You do not have to leave the keys in when riding, which is nice. I think I mentioned that the battery is about 5 pounds. This bike with all the accessories and everything is about 57 pounds, so it's definitely on the heavier side, and it might be a little more work to transport it. Definitely lighten it a little, taking off that battery pack, possibly the rear wheel, although that's kind of inconvenient. The max rating for the rack is 25 kilograms, and you'll notice that the tubing is a little bit larger. I think it'd work with most standard panniers that have the clip-ons and stuff, and that's nice because it's, adds a little bit of utility there. So to activate it, you got to hold down on that power button here for a few seconds, and then it comes to life, and it gives you a nice little readout of your speed. It shows the battery level and different levels of pedal assist. So we've got boost at the highest, sport, standard, eco, and no assist, which is just basically turns this into a little cycle computer. And you've got the throttle operational. Woo! There we go, got the kickstand. So it's cool to have a throttle mode because sometimes you just want to coast through a puddle or something, keep your feet up, and with this bike you can do it. So I just kind of twist it and we're off. Fairly quiet. You can hear a little bit of a whir in the background. Now I've arrowed up into boost mode and the throttle doesn't work, so it's kind of throttle mode at 0 or pedal assist, one or the other. And that's a little bit of a gripe for me, because sometimes it's nice to get yourself started with the throttle, but again, the torque sensor, it kind of helps there, because you don't have to, you start to push and the bike responds. Yeah, gets you up to that 20 mile per hour top speed pretty efficiently. Got the suspension fork doing its job up there. Nice clean cockpit. Now there is a delay in terms of when I stop pedaling and when the motor stops, and I think they do that to sort of reduce surge, which is basically on some bikes that are sort of torque sensing, it's responding to how hard you're pushing, and as such, as you sort of like go through those pedal motions and you're like hard on the way down but not so much on the way up, you can get a feeling of like go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. So I think they reduce that a little bit by having the motor sort of stay active a little bit longer. But you've got these brake levers with built-in motor inhibitors, so anytime you pull the brake, if you really need to stop, boom, it does its job, and the bike slows down very quickly, and you're all good. So it's a sweet bike. That's the Easy Motion Evo Street with the updated battery pack. I also did mention earlier, but I wanted to call out again, that the cable for the motor comes out on the left side. So again, it's just sort of, it's tucked really nicely behind the quick release and right here with the rear dropout. So if the bike tips or something, it's pretty protected, and then it's not colliding with any of this derailleur cassette stuff. So I just feel like they've refined this bike even more. It's good stuff. Easy Motion has a great warranty. The price is pretty reasonable, and it's like you don't have to do anything when you get a bike like this. It's all set for you. So yeah, it's the Easy Motion Evo Street. For the full write-up on this, including pictures and comments and stuff, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.